We're back to the Viking adventure. This one is the feast. On a winter night, there was a feast in Olaf's hall. Olaf's friends came from nearby farms. Some walked over the snow. Some came in sleds pulled by horses. Sigurd and his sisters were so excited they could not keep still. They ran from the hall to the kitchen and back. Their dog, Ho, that's the dog's name, Ho, H-O, Ho, was with them. Once he ran under their feet and they all fell down. Children, children, said their mother, but she did not scold them because it was such a happy time. Olaf and his wife sat at the long table with their friends. Servants brought food and drink, and they brought dishes of roasted meat. They brought jugs of wine. They brought honey bread with white cheese and sweet butter. The children had a small feast of their own. They ate by the fire. Their table was a butter tub. Ho lay near them. When he barked, they gave him bites of food. See, there's the meal. See the feast? And there's all the friends, the mother and father's friends, and there's the children, and there's the butter tub, and there's Ho. They watched the people at the long table. The girls looked at the gold rings on the women's hands. See the pins in the hair of that lovely lady, said Erna. She asked her sister, do you think the pins are gold? Yes, said Helga. Look at her, Sigurd. Isn't she beautiful? Sigurd was looking at his father. Olaf was at the head of the table. He sat in the dragon chair. It was a chair of oak carved with many dragons. Sigurd had touched the carved wood, but he had never sat in the chair. Only the master of the house sat there. Olaf sat like a king. Sigurd felt happy and proud when he looked at his father. The children were sent to bed early. They slept in the loft above the hall. The girls' bed was on one side of the loft. Sigurd's was on the other. Sigurd had wanted to stay up. He knew that stories were told at every feast. He wanted to hear the stories. He fell asleep and woke again. A woman was talking in the hall below. He could hear some of the words. She was telling a ghost story. Sigurd got out of bed and listened at the top of the stairs. Still, he could not hear all the words. He went down the stairs until he could hear better. The woman said, and the ghost gave a cry and flew away and never came back. That was the end of her story. One of the men looked up. I think the ghost did come back, he said. I see him now. He's pointing up the stairs at Sigurd. The others looked and saw Sigurd on the stairs. Some of them laughed to see him sitting there in his short nightshirt. Sigurd, said his mother, back to bed. But Olaf held out his hands. Sigurd went to him. Do you think you are old enough to sit up and hear the stories? Asked Olaf. I am 8, said Sigurd. That is true, said Olaf. Sit here, then. I have a story to tell. You are old enough to hear it. Sigurd sat at his father's feet. Olaf began. He told the story of his life. He told how he had gone to sea when he was young. He told of his friend Gorm and their adventures in strange lands. And the lands had such names as Iceland, Scotland, Ireland, Spain. There was a battle on the shore of Ireland, said Olaf. A wild man came into the fight. Roar! 7 feet tall he was, and he swung his sword left and right, and he wounded me here in the side. It was my good friend Gorm who saved my life. He cared for me until I was able to come home, and here I have stayed ever since. He said to Sigurd, Still awake? My story did not put you to sleep? Tell more, said Sigurd. My story is over, said Olaf. There's Olaf telling his story, and there's Sigurd. Sigurd looks really excited. Tell about the other land, said Sigurd. Someday, said Olaf. Have you gone farther than anyone else has ever gone? Asked Sigurd. No, said Olaf. Some have gone much farther. Who? Asked Sigurd. One was Leif, son of Eric, said his father. Did you know him? Asked Sigurd. Some of the others began to laugh. No, I did not know him, said Olaf. He lived 100 years ago, 100 years and more. His home was in Greenland. I know about Greenland, said Sigurd. It is far beyond Iceland. Yes, said Olaf. And Leif sailed even beyond Greenland. He found a land there, and he named it Vineland. Sigurd waited for him to go on. He asked, why did he name it Vineland? Tell him the story, Olaf, said one of the men. Another time, said Olaf. Now to bed, my son. Sigurd went back up to the bed. He lay in bed thinking. Many times his father had told him, you must not be afraid, you must be strong. Now Sigurd knew why. Adventures would come to him as they had come to his father, and when they came, he must be ready. He must be brave. He must be strong. So there was the feast. More on the next video. Until then, bye-bye.